everyone, Crafting Vicky here with you, and today I'm here to share with you something different. I used to make only cards, and then I got really hooked into mixed media, but today I'm going to be sharing a card with you. And I know I've shared one before and it wasn't really a success because all of you know how to make cards and everything, so I just wanted to share this one because I have a tip for you guys. So my first tip for you is the following. I'm doing a card, an image from the east wind. And by the way, if you don't know, the east wind has on the blog, and I'm going to be putting down in the description box below the link to it. But if you register for the newsletter, you get a digital image every month free. And they're always wonderful images, so you really want to participate in this. And the good thing with digital image versus stamps is that you store them on your computer. You can size them as big as you want or as small as you want, and they don't take any room in your house. And I don't know about you, but I'm running out of room in my house, so digital image is a great way for me to be able to do some stamping without actually using a stamp. And you can just print them on your computer, and in my case I printed on Nina paper, and this is the little girl I printed. I've already colored this part with my Copics. Now my trick for you is, the challenge this month in East Wind is to do some paper piercing. And I used to try to put some paper, design paper inside my printer and print the image on it, but it was getting really hard, and you know, it can jam your printer and it's not necessarily a good thing. So what I started doing is using the PNG images, and then what I do is I print the PNG image on, I do a background first of digital paper. This one is from Create with TLC. So I chose the paper because that's the one I wanted to use with this little image. So now I've put the image on top of it, and I will just have to fussy cut the areas that I want to transfer from this to the other one. So this is what I'm going to be sharing with you. It's going to be a really fast little craft, and I know you know how to fussy cut, so that's not really a big deal. But I wanted you to be able to see the image prior to me fussy cutting it, so that you see what I mean by putting it directly on a digital paper. And that really saved me, because now I can do paper piercing, which is kind of fun because it gives you a design for whatever element you're doing. In this case I'm doing the hat and the scarves with this design. So it's giving me the option of doing this without having to really break my head as to how I'm going to be able to color those design in. So here is the little hat. So I'm going to be placing it on her, and I will glue it down. What I also do to make sure that it works is that I size the image, and I use exactly the same size image into the other part that I want to color. So this way I'm sure that I'm not gonna have one image that's not the same size as the other image, because that would really suck. And of course the paper piercing would not work if you do that. And believe me, it seems like an obvious thing, but I did do that at the beginning, so I'm just giving you a heads up. But I'm sure you're much smarter than me, and you're not going to make that mistake. But sometimes, you know, you go fast, and then you realize that it's not going to work. So just doing the scarf now. I don't really care about this area because it's the mitts, and anyway I'm not using those. So there's always a way that I'm more comfortable holding my scissors. I guess it depends on if you're right-handed or left-handed. Anyway, trying to get this done. as easily as possible without destroying the image, because obviously I need the scarf to be in good shape for this. And I thought for this challenge that I was going to do a Christmas card, because like I said, I used to do a lot of cards, and if you go and check out my blog, you'll see that probably the first 3 years for sure were pretty much all about cards. And so I used to do lots and lots and lots of them, and I had boxes of them and nowhere to put them. And so I thank God for mixed media, because now I can do other stuff than cards. But the bad thing with this is that now that I've found mixed media, I don't do a lot of cards. And so now with Christmas coming, and yes, I know we're in August, but Christmas is just around the corner, and usually by this time of year I had tons of Christmas cards, either for my family and friends, or as well for selling some at work. For colleagues that would want them. Now this year, because I'm doing mixed media, I didn't do much cards at all. Actually, I think this is the second one that I'm doing. So now I'm very behind in my Christmas cards, and I'm actually thinking that I might end up having to resort to sending store-bought ones, which is okay, because I had some already, and I stopped using them because I was making my own, but it still kind of sucks. Okay, so let's try to align this properly so you don't see any white space. I don't know what I did. There's this tiny, oh, there's a tiny little area that I didn't cut. It's very tiny, but it bugs me. So now how am I going to put this? Oh, saved. Yay! The rest is actually a little space between the scarf and her hair. So look, there she is. So I'm loving how this turned out. This, by the way, is a great investment if you're making cards. I love my ATG gun. It just goes really, really fast for putting down some paper and sticking it down. So now my other tip that I have for you is, when you want to do a card, I often like to mat my image. Now this mat would take paper, but what I do is I cut it out from one of the backgrounds that I'm going to be gluing it down. Because I'm gluing this down, we won't see that there's a big hole in it. So not only will it make my card a little bit lighter, which is easier to mail, but it also saves on paper. The other thing that I want to share with you is that I usually buy my paper, my cardstock, in 12 by 12, in either beige or in white. And then what I do is I cut it in half and then fold it in half with a bone folder, and there is my card. And I have a little stamp that my friend Erin had made just for me. So that's what I'm using, and this way it's blank inside. It goes for anybody, any type of occasion. This time it's Christmas, so it's still going to be Christmassy, but people can just write whatever they want inside of it, so that works out well. So here it is, and I've pre-cut all my papers so that you wouldn't have to see me gluing down papers, because that's kind of boring. Not gluing, but cutting paper. because yes, you are seeing me gluing it down. I figured you would, this way you would get to see how the background was made and with the hole in it, because otherwise I would have had to tell you about it, but it wouldn't have been the same. So I'm thinking I'm going to put this between this, sandwich it here. So I'm going to put this down. And that's one thing too that I always end up doing, is that I'll stick everything down and then I realize that I forgot to put my ribbon and sandwich it, and that's not cool. So I just, and I only do it, I only eyeball it. I never do proper measurements. I should. I mean, it would make it nicer, I'm sure, but no time for it. I like things to be done quickly, so that's what happens. Okay, so let's put this down. Now we're going to put this down. And I thought initially I was going to put just this on top, but I thought it was kind of green and it was not really popping. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pink circle first and then put the green on top of it, so that it kind of pops the green more from the other green designer paper underneath. And of course all those decisions have been made while I was playing with the paper and deciding what I was going to do as a design. I thought you might want to know this die here is a picot edge circle from Spellbinder, and this were cut with my Spellbinder regular large circle. So let's put this down. Okay, so now as an embellishment, I want to put this little bow. I made it with my Bow Easy, so it's a double bow. I thought it would be good, be cute here. And this is the sentiment. It's also from Create with TLC, and it's going to go right under here. So I'm going to put the sentiment first. Okay, so I also made some embellishments. I made some snowflakes using the Elizabeth craft die, and I thought this was going to be fun to just put as embellishment here. Oh, and this here was done with Spellbinder label 14, just in case you were wondering. So this one for sure is going to go in there. Now the other ones I'm not so sure that I'm going to be putting them in or not. It depends on how it goes with the bow. And you see this paper is because I put them through my Xyron machine, and this way it puts double-sided tape on it, and it's a lot easier because the those little snowflakes are pretty fancy, and it's hard to do either with a gun or with the regular double-sided tape. It just doesn't do the same type of job. So I'm thinking I like the idea of doing threes. So maybe another one here. Now for the last one, I think I'm going to put it just there. Yeah. And I've got some rhinestone stickers from Recollections, and they're a fun pinkish color, so I thought that was going to be fun in the middle of those snowflakes. So for the big snowflake, I'm going to put a big one, and then for the other two, I'm going to put a smaller one. Just because it gives a bit of bling, and it's kind of nice to have it. And I think just this corner needs a little something. So I'm going to put those three here. And I think I'm going to put three here just to make it equal. So here is my little Christmas card, made with an East Wind image and paper pierce. Hope that inspires you. Since I'm sharing a card, I wanted to share another one with you. One type of card that I have a lot of trouble making is masculine cards, and I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. And look, I had to make this card for one of my friends. Her brother's birthday is coming up, and she requests a card. Sorry, I keep moving because it's not centered. So she requested a card, and she said that her brother likes sailing. So I thought this image from Delicious Doodle would be awesome for it. And then I added a little charm from my stash, and I thought this with this string, it would go with the nautical theme. So really hope that she likes it. It was colored with Copics as well as chalk markers. Not markers, chalk from a little kit that I have. So that's it. Hope you like this. It inspires you. Please do leave me comments and let me know if my tips have been helpful or not. And if you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Bye, folks.